Hello, beautiful people of the internet. Welcome back to the Games and Culture channel. You may have noticed by the title of this video, this is not a podcast today. It's the 1 year, it's belated 1 year anniversary of Metaphor ReFantazio. So it's finally time that we do our review for it.
The news was slow, so we're like, we could just do a review in lieu of the normal podcast episode. And we're like, what should we do? And we're both kind of like, we need to do metaphor.
Yeah, it's time. It's
It's time.
time. It's time. Expedition 33 will have its review soon because we want to make sure that that's out there before
Yeah,
really the game of the
this
year
is
conversation starts. But
yeah. This will get this out of the way. It kind of finally puts a bow tie on last year's game that we didn't do.
yes.
So we'll be kind of caught up on this year's stuff. I mean, for reference, I mean, this is gonna be a glowing review. I mean, this was my game of the year last year. This was year number 2, so this is the
Yes.
closest a game has ever gotten for to win it from both of us.
Yes.
Um,
Uh,
so
at least
go ahead.
until this year ends.
Maybe not. Who knows?
Would be fair enough, but probably. So yes, no, this will be a very glowing review. Metaphor is a very good game. Metaphor is a good game. If you walk away from anything from this video, it's that Metaphor is a good game.
Yeah,
Metaphor
I mean, like
good game.
if you haven't played it yet, which I mean, I think it's sold 2-3 million copies. I think by now 4 million, somewhere in that range.
I can look that up. It's probably 3 million. Yeah.
But if you're watching us at this point, you you need us to convince you. Go buy it and play it. I mean, that's the short end of this review. Well, we are going to do spoilers and we'll talk about the story later because it's been a year, so like less spoilery concerns. But just so here's your warning now.
It's
But
over
yeah,
2 million as of March of this year. So,
well,
not quite to 3 million, but still pretty good. So, very, very good game. And now, honestly, that's probably the best time to get it because it's going on sale regularly now since it's been a year. So you can even get a better value, but it's still worth the 70 no matter what. So yeah, we're gonna structure this just like we do in review. We're gonna go through gameplay, music, visuals, and story. We will warn you before any spoilers, as always. But with this one, a little less important because it's been a year.
the story's possibly last, but we'll warn again.
Yeah. So, and as always, before we get to the heavy spoiler section, we will give our scores so that you don't have to get spoiled or anything like that. But there is a lot to talk about on all fronts of this game. So we will jump right into it. For those not in the know, Metaphor ReFantazio is a turn-based slash action in some parts RPG made by Team Zero over at Atlas, published by Atlas and Sega. It is another spin-off of the Shin Megami Tensei series that has spun off into Persona and several other games. So this is another one of those. So if you're familiar with Persona and Shin Megami Tensei, you're going to feel right at home here. Although I will say this one lacks a lot of the identity, like carryover identity from those games. So it's more unique than any other spin-off.
Yeah,
That's
it has its
done.
own flavor.
Yeah.
It definitely has its own flavor. I mean, it borrows the calendar system from Persona 5.
Yeah.
But it's definitely more difficult than Persona usually is. Persona's games are usually fairly easy, but it's not as difficult as the Shin Megami Tensei line of games are. So, one thing I remember before this game came out, like when around the time Soul Hackers 2 came out, Alice was saying they were looking for a third pillar because obviously pillars 1 and 2 are Shin Megami Tensei and Persona. They're hoping Soul Hackers could be the beginning of the third pillar. That game, despite being good, I mean, it was good, solid 7-8 game, not the most amazing thing in the world, but we liked it.
Yeah.
But it didn't do that well until it clearly was not going to come to the third pillar. Metaphor is the third pillar now, like far and away. It is absolutely, it has its own identity. It borrows a little bit from everything, but it has its own flavor of things that is distinct. Because most of the time, like Shin Megami Tensei is post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
Typically, Persona is modern day. This is their first one they've done where it's like really fantasy. I mean, I've described this game to people who I know haven't played it yet, because I know some people are like, I really wish Final Fantasy didn't go to action based. I'm like, well, if you like turn-based games that are fantasy, Metaphor ReFantazio now exists. Like,
Yes.
legitimate, go play that.
Yes. And it's very good. So that's good. But yeah, so I'm still convinced that you and I are the only two people that have played Soul Hackers 2 and liked it. But I digress. So yeah, so this is kind of a third pillar, and I think what's important too is they didn't really define what metaphor means, and so they could go in any direction. Like if they wanted to do a sci-fi one next time, they could do that. They're not constrained by the previous games in the series to tell you what it is. Like Persona is always modern day, always high school slash college students, and it will always be that way. I don't see a huge deviation in that franchise. Shin Megami Tensei is always post-apocalyptic or near post-apocalyptic, like shit's going down, like and it will never deviate from that. So metaphor is a lot more room for for a franchise to breathe. And I hope that they do that. I hope this is like an anthology series where ReFantazio was fantasy, and now then we have Re-Scientifico, which could be science fiction, or Catholic, Cthulhu, like Eldritch horror. Like you could do pretty much anything um, in this franchise. If they stick to fantasy, though, that's fine because it's good. So, um, but yeah, I mean it's such an interesting move for them. um let's talk about the visuals of the game. We'll knock out a few of the easy categories first. Still a lot to talk about though. Visuals, this is a high fantasy game, so dragons, knights, armor, swords, shields, all of that stuff is in heavy supply, lots of magic and stuff. um so it didn't have to like explain much in regards to that. Like kids using these mythical demons and getting powers, you kind of have to explain that. But in a fantasy setting, everybody's got magic. It's fine. It's cool. They're using it to light their homes. Like we get it. Um Not to say that the environments aren't varied. You go to multiple towns, from big cities to towns. All of them have very distinct styles, and they all you look unique. All of the character models are very, very cool and stylish, yet applicable to the time that they're in, which I appreciate. Their character designers are fantastic. So the
Oh
fact
yeah.
that we still got the style plus a clear representation that this is a fantasy title, um, really, really was nice.
Oh yeah, I liked it because it definitely is a blend of fantasy and anime, and so like graphically, it's not a looker, but Alice games never are.
Yeah.
They're built around an art style, and this game very much is that. And its art style is beautiful. Its menus are incredibly looking, like
Yes.
again, like Atlas normally does. Um, the character designs are great. The only like negative I would say it's not really a negative. Like the world is cohesive. Like everything fits. If you're just coming from like say Persona 5 though, like the dungeons are vastly different in every format.
Yes.
Um, in this, they're really not. They do have a bit of a same look to them, but I'm not going to ding the game much on that personally. It is a case you can notice that. I mean, I noticed that, but
Yeah.
the fantasy world is a cohesive one world. There's no like alternate dimension like there is in Persona. That's how that franchise gets away with looking like that. Um, there's more of a reason for it to do that. But it is something you can notice. So, but I don't really hold that much against it for it that way.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to, because like you said, it is a cohesive world. We're not traveling to an alternate dimension or anything crazy like that. So it makes sense that like if there's a dungeon in the woods, you would be on a path and surrounded by trees.
Yeah.
Is that boring design? Kind of. Does it fit the world? Absolutely. Um, there's multiple levels that happen in temples, and all of them look very similar because the inside of a temple is going to look like the inside of a temple.
Yeah.
Um, do I wish
And
there
I,
was a little bit more variety? Yes, but I don't think it's something that hampers the game any.
no, no, it's definitely like I'd rather have it where it's a commitment to a specific vision instead of trying to like, well, the last game we made, has all this wacky crap in it, so we have to do wacky crap in this, and where it would just feel off.
Yeah.
Like, sure, there's probably a way to maybe add a little bit more variety and still remain cohesive, but if you felt they can't do that, and they just didn't do that, so
Yeah. Yeah, definitely don't ding it on there. And I mean, the dungeons are Um, I feel like that statement really only applies to the dungeons that happen for like side quests and stuff, because every like major location does still have its own identity and stuff. You know, you think back to the Great Cathedral in the first city versus the castle dungeon in the second town. Those are very different vibes. You know, one you're scaling this monumentous building, the other you are in, you know, the underbelly of this castle trying to figure out what the hell's going on. So like they in the major locations there is a difference in environment. It's just those side mission dungeons look the same a lot of the time, but it still is cohesive. So I think that, like you saying, that's the most important part. Um yeah, so I mean, going a little bit deeper in the character design, which I think that's this game's like strongest part. Was there any person's design that really stuck out to you?
Yes, all of them.
Oh, okay.
I mean, very specific,
Oh,
but I
okay.
mean, they Hulkenberg design I think is great.
Yeah.
Heismay's, uh, Juna's. I mean, it's honestly the list of characters who are didn't stand out. Like honestly, Stroll's is not the most like striking to me, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, but like the list of characters who aren't striking are uh a lot smaller than the ones who are striking. Everyone has a unique look to them.
Yeah, I would
All
agree. Yeah, for me, Hulkenberg, I love Hulkenberg's design. The bright red hair against just like the black suit of armor is just so nice. And then you contrast that with Juna's, who's very bright, very like matches her personality. It's yeah, the cast especially has some great designs. Some of the confidants, I liked Brigida's design. I think
yeah,
she's very cool. Obviously, Louise or Luis or Lewis, however you want to fucking call him. I don't know. It's Louis, right? Or
yeah.
yeah,
I think it was Louis. Yeah,
yeah.
Lewis.
His design I thought was very imposing, very striking, but like not like overdone, which I appreciate. Um, I feel as though the protagonist's design was a little lacking compared to some other mainstays, but I still like his like overcoat.
Yeah, I liked his go. I did also like how in this he's not. This is the first time they've done a talking protagonist. Soul Hackers 2, they had Ringo. Um, and I loved her. Anyway, I think she
Yeah,
was probably easily the best I think protagonist they've had in its Atlas game. Um, but so he's a bit more toned back, more like Joker is, or even like Yu Narukami. But his voice lines are still given voice, not like Joker's where it's all silent. So you choose dialogue option, he will say the line. And his delivery, it just at random times, just the most unhinged way he could have said it to. Just like
yeah,
it was so great.
yeah. Sometimes he'll say things like in a tone that's like elevated that like where it definitely shouldn't be. And it's like, oh, okay.
Like he has a
um,
sense. He's a little stoic, but he has a sense of humor.
yeah, yeah. I feel as though he's a lot like you from Persona 4 a little bit in that, like from the anime, like stoic but like loves to shit post.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, so another strong point I would say would be the enemy design.
Mhm.
The humans in this game are grotesque monstrosities. They are like unhinged beasts in the game, which we'll talk more about in the story synopsis. But they are terrifying and imposing, and it's they make up a lot of the boss fights. And fuck, dude.
So they were just like, oh, jeez, what the fuck happened here? Nightmare fuel.
Yeah, so there's like little ones that look like human teeth. Those are just like common enemies. Um, you have some that are like have like cages for heads. And then you look at the bosses, and it's even worse. You have Homer Gorleo, which is that like one with the wings and like the fruits and shit. I personally thought that the creepiest one was Homo Avades, the one that was like a chicken.
Yeah, also the one was in the small town. Uh, well, I think the town's like Merita.
Oh,
Uh,
Homo Jaluzo, the baby. Yeah,
yeah, that was
yeah,
terrifying.
that one was terrifying for sure. The sandworm was also pretty bad. Lots of like human heads, bird bodies, like oh yeah, the worm had like human teeth. Ugh. Ugh. Yeah, grotesque is the easiest way to put it. But I mean that's the point. They're supposed to be these terrible creatures that are plaguing the citizens of this world, and yeah, they definitely nailed that for sure. um like, oh, the ear ones. Oh, I hate the ear ones with the like the knife held between them. Ugh.
Yeah,
Ugh.
those are gross. Oh,
Ugh. Gross. Lots of weird shit. Lots of weird shit. You know, more weird shit than usual in the enemy design department. And then a little bit of spoiler for the gameplay section, but this game adds in classes called archetypes, and they all had their own designs and stuff too. All of them looking um, like what you would expect, honestly, out of what their class title is, but given that like persona flair to them, because that's what essentially they are, is personas. Was there any one design wise that kind of stood out to you?
uh, some of them are pretty good. I think the dancers one looked pretty cool. The heels look pretty cool. If I can remember correctly. It's been a minute.
Yeah,
A lot of the in-game ones, which will look really cool too. I won't go into spoilers for some of them, but every
yeah,
character does get an in-game one, and they're
yes,
all really cool looking.
yeah. They all look they all look like their like starter one, but with like some ornate changes and stuff like that. Um, which is very cool. Um, especially since those are fucking little hard to get. When I finished the game, everybody had their final archetype, which was really cool. One character didn't have his all the way leveled up like the other ones did, but we got it there under the wire. Um, so yeah, I really liked the thief line a whole lot.
Yeah, see, I mean, Heismay is just a terrorist. I will say that, in more of a well, we're interested in the gameplay in a second. We'll address that later. We're
Okay,
talking about designs right now.
okay. Also really like the faker one because it's like a jester. It's really
Hmm.
really cool. Um, but yeah, so visual wise, like Nick was saying, the game's not like a looker. You're not gonna expect 4K ray tracing and all that shit. Spider-Man swings, sticks to a building, sees his reflection. Like, no, you don't get that here. It's very
This is
anime inspired, high fantasy, but it's all designed really really well.
yeah. This isn't a
So
game that's gonna make run your PC ragged.
no, no, but it still looks good. Like, it's still oozing style. Um, I think its menus are probably my favorite of all the Atlas games. I think I'd say.
Definitely
Uh,
close. I mean, it's between it and Persona 5, obviously, but they're pretty close to each other.
Obviously, mine's Metaphor, Persona 3 Reload, then Persona 5, but that's just me. I just like all the watercolors and stuff, and
Yeah,
I wish
I
more
haven't
of
played.
that. I wish more of that bled itself into the world a little bit, but I'm cool with it
I haven't
either way.
played. That's fine. I haven't played Reload yet, so that's why I didn't
I was
mention
talking
it.
about Metaphor with the watercolor stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You should play Reload. It's good. It's good. I promise it's good. I know you're waiting for the mod for the female pro tag, but it's good. It's still good. So let's get
I
into
think it's
gameplay. Oh, go ahead.
good. Never mind. It's irrelevant.
Okay. All right. I mean, let's move into music. Music's good.
It's an Alice game.
It's not this game. Music's good.
I mean, the main battle theme just gives as is earworms in my head. Is still a year later.
Yeah, freaking the freaking enchanter in the freak goes so hard.
It's just a normal battle theme. You don't need to go that hard. He goes, "No, I'm gonna go hard anyway."
I'm gonna go so hard. Obviously, it's good. It's composed by series mainstay Soji Maguro. This man literally can do no wrong, in my opinion. I think. I really can't name a soundtrack of his that isn't good. Like, I really can't. I legitimately can't. Like, even non Persona S games like Catherine have a great soundtrack. So
I mean, a common joke with Atlas games is you get a free game with your soundtrack.
yeah, I mean, yeah. You want to talk about some stuff that's on repeat on my Spotify? It's all of Soji Maguro's stuff. It's so good. It's never not good. But with this game being high fantasy, they, typically in Persona games we get like rock and pop tunes with some funk elements, stuff like that. This one they went very orchestral, very, for the times, with chanters and vocalists, doing very operatic performances, um, and you don't miss the rock music and stuff. Like you just
No,
it's just good.
it's definitely. I mean, it's definitely fantasy s music, but damn, they hit out of the park. I mean, that is I think a wild thing about this franchise. This is their first like new like spinoff in a while. Because they've done Persona because that's a spinoff of Shin Megami Tensei. They tried to bring Soldiers back, but the first one in a while, and it's just a complete knockout of the park that stands with among the best of anything Atlas has put out.
Yeah, for sure. I do wish there was maybe like a second battle theme for when you like stunned enemies or something like that, just to break up the monotony a little bit. I think it's one of the stronger elements with like the Persona games is like usually there's a normal battle theme and usually there's like an advantage battle theme, just so you get a little bit of
There, I will say there actually is. I think because instead of being like normal, I think it's just the normal one is the same one as the advantage. There is a disadvantage battle theme though.
yeah. That I'm good at video games, so that didn't happen.
Yeah. The disadvantage battle theme is also really good. Not as good as the normal advantage one, but it's still really good.
Yeah.
I think
I'm
I'll heard it though like once or twice though because I just got like didn't see something else. I'm in the battle like shit.
Yeah, I don't think I heard it more than probably 3 times, because I'm a pro gamer, dog. Pro gamer. I don't disadvantage. Never heard of it. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't think there's really much else to say about the music other than it's just really really good. I mean, it's so good, in fact, that it regularly gets played still even to this day, on my Spotify. I mean, you can download the soundtrack and enjoy it yourself. And it's just awesome.
Even the final boss team, which at first I'm like, this is okay, and then like it grew. I mean, like, no, it's actually really fucking good.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's super good. Can't go wrong. Highly recommend checking it out. So yeah, then we'll move into the two big sections now: gameplay and story. I say these are the two big sections because the gameplay gets changed up quite a bit. I know we're saying that it's a turn-based RPG, but it's a lot more than just that. There's a lot more stuff under the hood. They have taken their tried and true turn-based formula and copied two. Not, I wouldn't say copy, but innovated on two titans of the JRPG industry, being the Trails games and Final Fantasy. So we'll talk about all three parts: the Persona stuff, the Final Fantasy stuff, the Trails stuff. Um, Starting, I think we have to start with the Final Fantasy stuff. So the job system, otherwise known as archetypes. There are 46 of them bitches. um, and so very similarly to Final Fantasy Tactics or Final Fantasy 3 and 5, as you are adventuring through the world, you're earning, job points, and leveling your jobs up. And once you get to certain levels or accomplish certain things, you can then advance your job or change your job. So there's everybody starts with one, and there's some other ones that you earn. So your protagonist starts with the Seeker job class, which is kind of like a all of them have like physical combat prowess and magical combat prowess for the most part. There's some that their their magic is better than their physical, some of the physical is better than their magic. The Seeker one is basically like an all-arounder. Good swordplay, good magic. You have the mage, obviously, very typical like black mage, where all your elemental magic is. You have the warrior, which is like an offensive physical class. You have the knight, which is a defensive physical class. You have the thief, who steals stuff. Mass dancer, who copies stuff. Summoner, who summons stuff. Berserker, another like heavy hitting, like bulky physical attacker. So those are all of the ones for the casts. But then you also have Berserker. No, not Berserker. We already said that one. You have like Gunner, which is like long range. You have Healer, which is obviously White Mage. Brawler, which is a monk. Faker, which is like a like a debuff mage type thing. Commander, which is like a buff type mage type thing, and then a merchant who throws gold at people, attacks people with his wallet. um, and then all of those obviously can be leveled up and changed and stuff like that. And as you get into the higher classes, you need experience in multiple classes. It's very similar to all of the Final Fantasies in the way that it functions like that. And each class gets access to some abilities that are prevalent in the other Persona games, but not all of them. So, for instance, the Seeker gets wind magic, whereas the Mage only has access to fire, ice, and lightning magic. So, if you wanted it to have wind magic, oh well, you need to put some points into Seeker so that you can learn those skills, carry those wind skills over, and have them all the time. Um, Very well done. They really didn't have any misses here. Um, Overall, I mean, I know you personally haven't played a whole lot of games with the job system. Did you find it cumbersome or hard to figure out at all?
I figured it out. I definitely, I mean, since I played Persona so much, I mean, it definitely was basically functionally like, in a weird sense, in the Persona games, the other party members besides the pro tag are locked to a specific job. They get not changing. The wild card in Pro 3, 4, and 5 are essentially playing a solo job system because they can just swap out everything at will. This is kind of just because where everyone had it, where you can swap anyone out will. Now, I will say that I will see this maybe I don't know if I'm fully determined to this game against this game or not. I will say it does feel like most of your party members are being kind of like they fit best in what they're canonically supposed to be.
Yeah.
Um, except for the pro tag. Because the pro tag does start with the secret. We both need to do the same thing. We basically turn the pro tag into the healer.
Yeah. Because it was guiding us down that road. I think in order to become the so the Seeker um gets access to healing magic. That's how you get your like your Dia line of the solo heals. Those are in the
Yeah.
Seeker class, whereas the
Yeah.
healer class gets the medis so that you can heal the whole party. So yeah, like right out of the gate, the healer is like the pro tag is like pushed down the healer pass with like, because he's the only
Yeah.
one that knows healing spells at this point. So might as well give him
And
the rest of the healing spells.
and also what the game does is like when you level up, obviously you have skill points you can put into your stats like strength, magic, luck, whatever. The party members are on fixed paths on that. They're gonna get points as the game doles them out to whatever it does. So it's set. The pro tag you can adjust as you want. Meaning your character like Hulkenberg is canonically the knight, and her points are going into that stuff. So you could make her the healer, but her points are not conductive for her doing that.
Yeah.
So the pro tag being being the one you can loosely do with those numbers can beat again anything. But since there's really no other party member that's going conducive into healing, it just kind of falls to him.
Yeah. Yeah, and so like even further to the point, like if you wanted Stroll, who starts as the warrior, if you wanted him to be your mage for some reason, you're not going to get much out of that because he's getting points that are going to benefit him as like his warrior class and stuff. So if I would say that is a slight detriment because the idea behind the job system is supposed to be this like free flowing kind of, you have your characters however you want your characters, and it does feel like the rest of the party is kind of, and even the protagonists in some ways they're stuck to their fixed roles. So it's like, well, why'd you give me this whole suite of stuff to choose from if you're gonna push me down these paths? I mean that's part of the reason why I have it and don't see myself going back and revisiting this, because there really isn't much to change up. Like if I'm putting Juna and changing her to a warrior, I'm missing the point. I'm missing out on one of the best classes in the game.
Oh yeah,
Like
no,
I
yeah. So
can make, I guess I could make my protagonist a dancer, but like,
it wouldn't work out great. No,
yeah,
that is a different game now. I mean, like, it's definitely like if I replayed the game, I kind of do want to. I mean, I don't play a lot of games right now, but that's not the point. Um, but on a revisit, I do feel like I wouldn't change up how much I play. It would just be a revisit for the story.
yeah.
Um,
Versus
but
like
it's still
something. Oh, go ahead.
good.
Oh, like
But
versus. Oh, go ahead.
um, I was saying, despite the complex still feels really good.
Yeah,
So it's not like an awful detriment. It's just kind of like maybe game would have been better served by giving everyone just put their points for every party member
yeah.
where you want them. Because it does kind of like your better servers just kind of follow the canonical path of pretty much all of them.
Especially since this game also is on the calendar system, so you don't have time to be like, okay, I want my protagonist to be the dancer. I gotta I gotta grind to earn points and stuff to get his abilities to make effective use of that. You don't really have that time. Um, and versus like I think about like Final Fantasy V, who like really perfected the job system, and like not every class was like super viable, but like it still was fun to go back and try classes that you didn't play the first time through, like, oh, I didn't use a summoner this time, I'll use a summoner. Oh, I didn't use a ninja this time, I'll use a ninja. I don't really feel like you can do that with this game. So the job system for a first attempt, fabulous, but in
It's a
future
fight thing.
attempts, yeah, some fine tuning to make every class not only viable, but I have the freedom of choice to be whoever I want them. Because honestly speaking, gameplay wise, putting your protagonist as the healer led to a lot of situations where like I was getting dunked on because I was trying to level up my healing class. The healers have less defense than like the seeker or any other job. So, and your protagonist goes down, that's not a good situation. So,
No, I will say it would have been really bad if this game followed the Persona way of doing it. Of the protagonist goes down, that's game.
yes,
That doesn't happen in this. If the protagonist goes down, it's fine. You can be revived. So if that was game, we really had an issue. But
yes,
that's not the case. So the game does kind of get away with it. But yeah, I could see that being
yeah, but
an issue.
even still, he's usually still your strongest character. So,
Yeah, I will say that I do believe by the time you reach closer to the end of the game, that problem for the protagonist is fairly
yeah,
resolved because his ultimate in-game archetype does have sure the healing stuff you can transfer into it, and on top of it, it's just super strong. So
yeah, for
he
sure.
kind of he becomes the ultimate Swiss Army knife.
I think it was like the first like 15 hours that was the big problem. It's like, oh Jesus.
Yeah,
So, but yeah. So that's the Final Fantasy stuff we covered. Let's move on to the Trail stuff. So, for those not in the know, the Trail series of games from Falcom, very big JRPG franchise, they do this hybrid thing where you can battle in the overworld and then take it into turn based, and so that's kind of where Metaphor's combat comes from. So there is overworld combat where you can attack things with your weapon, dodge attacks, and you basically build up this meter, and the enemy that you're hitting gets stunned, and you can hit a button to start the combat there, and you start with advantage. Um, so I really like this formula because some of like the typically tougher enemies, you can kind of whittle down a little bit, go into battle with an advantage, and beat some tougher enemies than you normally would by just like fighting them straight up. Um,
Yeah. I also like this system because a lot of enemies, as you have levels. So eventually, a lot of enemies just become fodder.
yes,
So instead of you having to go into battle against fodder type of enemies, you can just kill them outright in the overworld and get all your
yes,
XP for them. Even though
yes.
it's like less than normal, you know, the fact you don't have to go through a XP screen every single time to
Mhm.
farm, weak enemies is great for the flow of the game.
Yes, yes. Love that feature for sure. There's several times where I was so over leveled in like mainline dungeons that I literally didn't have an in screen battle except for like maybe against the tough enemies because I was just over leveled and just murking things. So in terms of like the flow state of the game, so nice. I will say the overworld combat is a little clunky.
It is. I think that's a good thing. It's clunky, but obviously, if you make it not clunky, you start making the game more of an action RPG versus the turn-based RPG it actually is. So, but making it clunky and not making it feel like that's how it is. Making it feel like I would rather, if I need to go into combat for an extended period of time, I'd rather do the turn-based stuff. And I think that's a good idea to do it that way.
I
Uh,
I'm more so just saying I like the 3-hit combo on the weapon. That's fine. The dodge button can be a little unresponsive. That's mostly my thing.
yeah, I was gonna say it was a
Yeah, I
little
don't want there to
unresponsive.
be like big attacks or anything like that. Like it should serve its purpose of working for the advantage. But if you're gonna tell me that the enemy's attacking me and I hit the button on time, but there's a delay in dodging, like that's just unfair.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I don't want DMC up in here. That's not what this
Oh
game's
yeah.
supposed to be.
No, no, no. I think the attacking part was fine. The dodge is just a little clunky. Some of the timing because all the enemies will have these like red lights to indicate that they're attacking, and you're supposed to dodge out of the way, otherwise they get an advantage. And sometimes the dodge just doesn't work as intended.
That
Like
does happen. Yeah,
yeah,
not very often, but it happened once or twice.
yeah,
I eventually got the rhythm for it down. So
yeah. Usually it's pretty easy to get out of the way, but sometimes, especially enemies that do like circle attacks, those ones like usually got me if I didn't already stun them prior to. Um and so yeah, so you stun an enemy, you force combat and you get an advantage. Basically you get to go first and you can really mess up the wild enemies. The the battle system for Persona, like the in-game battle system, is a lot more like Shin Megami Tensei than it is Persona. When you strike a weakness, you basically get an extra turn rather than being able to baton pass, but you can still pass your turn. You just can't like select the character you can do it. So you earn an extra
yeah,
turn. You can pass that extra turn to the next person and kind of keep adjusting that way. Um,
it definitely because I mean, Persona 5 Royal was the one that did it. Well, Persona 5 in general was the one that did baton pass. 3 and 4 obviously didn't. I don't know about Reload, but
Reload has
um,
baton pass.
okay. So that's Persona X feature then. New Persona X feature. But Metaphor doesn't do it. And I think it's okay because this
Yeah,
is trying to be a little bit tougher than Persona games are. And I think the game does a really good strategy because what it does do in lieu of like Persona, baton passing, because I will say Persona 5, I mean, we're sure it's fair game all the
yeah,
time, but a little easy. I mean, if you play your cards right in Persona 5, which is ain't that hard to do, you can get 16 turns in a row before the enemy gets a chance to fight back.
yeah,
It can be a little ridiculous. Uh, Metaphor, that's not possible. Like,
yeah.
the max you could get was about 8.
Yes.
And that's hard. It rarely happens.
Yeah, I
Um,
only got 8 on very rare occasions.
Yeah. But what I also like is they do these team up moves, which in Persona 5, the team up moves were just more random events that occurred, and there was no cost to doing so. In this, they're a main stratagem for you, but they cost more turns.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of like, okay, do I want to burn, an extra turn to do this team up move? So there was a lot more playfulness with the whole turn-based mechanic, which I really liked. I also really liked what they introduced. I don't know if this has been in a game before. It hasn't been an Atlas game before, but I don't know if another game did it before, where you could move your team into a front line or back line. So if you're
Yeah.
in the front line, they were going to do more damage, but they'll take more damage. Back line is they're going to do less, but they'll take less. So playing around with that strategy. So I usually had, my characters like Hulkenberg was my knight, obviously. So I usually had her up front, as a baiting type character, to absorb more impact to get someone to not attack the back line. So I had I had Protag and other mages in the back line just chucking crap.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a mainstay in most Final Fantasy games of the
Okay.
turn-based variety. Yeah. But yeah, no, and those team up moves also cost like resources like MP and stuff like that too. So like it wasn't just like a turns thing. You had to manage all your resources, and they were very powerful to say the least. I mean, Hulkenberg has a combination with the Pro Tag that gives your all of your team one hit immunity. Like they can be really powerful. And so yeah, there's a lot going on under the hood in the battle system. I like the turn mechanic. I like that it's capped to 8, so that the enemy gets to play the game.
Yeah.
And play the game they do. There are some really hard fights in this game. Like some really hard fights. Um Without spoiling too much, there's a whole like in-game side quest featuring these dragons, and they're all fucking awful to fight.
Oh
Especially when you're
yeah.
dumb and do it in the wrong order, like me.
I did also like what one mechanic they introduced is there's always you just I think it's the both sticks or something like that, but it's I think it's left stick that verifies you want to do that. A lot of turn-based games, you have to if you realize the fight's lost and there's just no way you don't have it's become like a battle of attrition and you're gonna lose it. You'll have to die and go out to your save point and then make the walk back. There's always a button you just hit. Okay, restart the battle from scratch. So I like that it keeps it. Saying if you're licked, just you can hit restart and restart the fight immediately.
Yeah, that is quite nice. There's lots of subtle gameplay improvements that just help the pacing of the game. Because in Atlas fashion, this is a long game. This is like 80 hours worth of content. So, um, it doesn't waste your time.
No,
Which is super nice. And there's lots of times that I did use that restart battle function because I fucked something up and I was like, I know what I did wrong. Let's go again.
those dragons, those dragons, yeah.
Once I figured out the order that you're supposed to do them in to make it easier, it was fine. But I was literally fighting the toughest one first and like ramming my head against the wall. Almost beat him using Hulkenberg's team up. Almost beat him. Like he got down to like 30% health. And then I read online that there's armor that just nullifies fire, and I was like,
What the fuck?
I waste like 6 days in game time trying to beat him. So yeah, those dragons are tough. Dragons tough. Um, but yeah, at no point though do you feel like you're underpowered. At no point do you feel like you don't have the tools. As long as you are leveling up your jobs effectively, spacing your team out, nothing gets overwhelming. It does get challenging, but nothing gets overwhelming. Um, so yeah, gameplay as a whole, if you like Persona, if you like Shin Megami Tensei, you're gonna feel right at home here. And I would say if you like old school Final Fantasy, like if you like Final Fantasy 3s and 5s, like this is fun. This is the even with a little bit of gripes with the archetypes, it is still really 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 good. Um, Especially when you get those end game ones, because freaking shout out to Royal Berserker for just hitting like a truck, and then causing that weakness to be the same hit that you just did, and then you hit like an even bigger truck. My personal goat of my playthrough, uh, ending the final bosses and all of the dragons with just demolishing.
Just
if
whamming
if
them.
if Juna wasn't like debuffing or getting rid of buffs, it was tossing some SP healing to my Royal Berserker so he could just keep hitting. So good, so good. All right, let's go ahead and give scores, and we'll get into the story part of it. Obviously, this is a story-rich game, so we don't want to give everything away. You should go into this with as least information as humanly possible. There are, just like with all the other games, there are twists and turns that are best experienced when you don't know about them. Um, I will forever wish I could go back and play Persona 5 for the first time again. Pancakes, pancakes. Anyways, Um, so yeah, we'll get in the story. We're gonna go pretty deep. So this is your start of your spoiler warning. We're gonna give review scores first. That way you know where our opinions lie. So yeah, Nick, what are you giving Metaphor?
So my game of the year winner last year gets a 9.5.
Okay, okay,
So there's a couple things here and there that I was like, I would not quite hit a 10, but I mean, 10s to me are should be rare. So I can't
yeah,
give everything a 10, but 9.5, it is. As I said last year when we did our game of the year, well, earlier this year when we did our game of the year video for last year, I said when I sat down to think what my game of the year was to be, I realized pretty quickly it was metaphor. Like there was cooking, I was like, I realized when I was trying to think about what it is, maybe that I'm like, I'm trying to convince myself that it's not.
yeah,
When I know clearly at that point it clearly was. It was not even a contest.
yeah,
Um, it's just so good.
yeah. Agreed.
Atlas knows how to take my specific buttons, and they know what I like. So they know
Yeah,
I whatever a Persona 6 or a sequel to this comes out, they're gonna have good likelihood they'll be in the running for my game of the year, if not win it.
for sure. I said the same thing about Infinite Wealth last year. Like I was trying to convince myself that it wasn't. So I definitely understand that feeling. For me, I feel like your score is a little bit higher than mine because I have more experience with like the job systems and stuff, so I know what I like and what kind of irks me. So I'm giving Metaphor 9 simply off the back of like I really wish there was greater customizability amongst the party. I like it when my protagonist is not the healer.
It's
um,
fair.
um, um, so like and like I said, I feel like it would be hard for me to go back and replay this because I wouldn't really want to do anything differently. I know that I played the game the most optimal way, and the game doesn't have enough openness for me to choose a different way of playing and feel just as rewarding.
Yeah, no, and I
Um,
get that. To me, the
yeah,
game would still be worth replaying because of the story alone, which we're about to get into how good the story is. I mean, same thing with Persona 5. There's not much different you can do with that.
yeah,
But the game to me is worth replaying because of its story. Um,
but like with that comparison to Persona 5, I can use personas that I didn't use in the first one. You know,
True.
I can choose to go see different confidants because there's more confidants in that game than there is in this game. This game, I 100%ed all of the confidants. Persona
Yeah.
5, there's still ones that I haven't done that I haven't invested in, so I still can hit their stories out of it. There's still, even though the gameplay is fundamentally the same, there's still more going on there. In this one, I feel as though it is a smaller experience than Persona 5 Royal, so there is less to do, and I think they intentionally did that to keep the game streamlined. But I think they also expected the archetype system to bring people back for different playthroughs. But looking at the jobs, right now there wasn't a single one that I didn't use because I had to use all of them to get the final archetypes. The only one that I didn't really use was the merchant, and I used the level up items to get what I needed out of those. Every other one
Yeah.
I pretty much used. So
Yeah. It definitely has a both. I mean, I do think that because it's Atlas, they said they're not going to do it. This I don't believe them. I think there'll be a re-release version of Meta 4, like there is for Persona 5 Royal and things of that. They said they're not, but that's one of a. I'm going to give it a few years before I believe that.
And if that's the
Uh,
case where they add some more archetypes and add more to the story, yeah, I mean, obviously I'll come back and play it then. I'm just saying
yeah,
replaying this version
yeah, yeah.
is a little
But
bit harder.
yeah, that's fair. So, but it was still your runner up for game of the year. So I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. I am just you when you love something, you love it despite its faults. And these are a couple faults that I feel like can be cleaned up in future games of this franchise.
oh
You
yeah,
know, I mean, gameplay wise, if you're telling yourself that Persona 4 is better than Persona 5 gameplay wise, that's you're lying to yourself. So there has to be evolution, and this is the start, and so we will see it as it evolves. And this is a solid start. I'm still giving it a 9 out of 10. I just
yeah,
with the wealth of knowledge all you're already around this, I just wish that I mean even just like you said, letting me customize my character's points would have made this basically a non-issue. Because if I wanted Stroll to be my black mage, if I wanted Heismay to be a warrior, like I would be able to respec my characters and do that. Um, and that would also open up the gameplay quite a bit. So, but
yeah. But still,
for a first attempt, this is well beyond expectations and just it's fantastic still.
yeah. So our average score is 9.25 for this.
Yes. Very highly rated.
Then tell you go buy it. Go
Yeah,
buy it.
go buy it. I mean, yeah, you cannot go wrong. I mean, with Atlas stuff in general, I feel as though you can't go wrong.
No, it's
So
on. It's on every major platform but the Switch, which I'm
eh,
surprised it's not on Switch 2 yet. Because the Switch 2 can
yeah,
easily run this thing.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we get it here soon.
Yeah.
Um, because I mean, Persona 3 Reload just came to the Switch 2. That game came out prior to Metaphor, so I bet you in the Spring Direct or even at Game Awards, I bet you will get a Metaphor Switch 2 announcement because at that point, honestly, Sega and Atlas are just leaving money on the table.
Hmm.
So yeah, only a matter of time there. So yeah, this is your spoiler warning. We are gonna go into the story of the game. Going to talk about a lot of what goes on in the game. Spoilers are going to happen because we have to talk about the game. So this is your warning to back away from the computer. Maybe go play the game. Come back and listen to what our thoughts are on the story. The spoiler for that they're going to be positive, but you know. Um, Definitely play the game before you get spoiled on it because the twists are pretty good. So this is your warning. 3, 2, 1. All right, let's get into it. So what I like about the story right off the bat is the story starts in the opening cutscene of the game. um, yeah, so right as you start the game, you put in your like brightness and all that shit, and then it goes straight into a cutscene before you even hit new game. Um, the um, the cutscene involves the king of the kingdom that this is set in. It's the United Kingdom of Uchronia. Um, there are 5 different tribes. I think maybe more than 5. I think it's 8 tribes. It's 8 tribes, isn't it?
There's 8
Eight.
tribes. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have the horned Clemars. They are like all of them are fairly humanoid, but with some like animal features. So the Clemars have horns like goats. The long-eared Rusants, they are they just have like long animal hair, basically what it is. Uh, the gray skin and white haired roags, the winged Ishkia, the bright eyed and luminescent haired Nydia, the bestial Parapus, the bat like Ugifs, and the three eyed Mustaris, and then the humanoid Eldas. Eldas are going to be the closest thing to look like what we see as humans for reference. Um, and so not all tribes are created equally. The Elda especially get a lot of
Very discriminated
judgment.
against.
Yeah, and yeah, discriminated against. The kingdom is um kind of sponsored, I guess would probably be the way to put it. The Sanctus Search Church, which basically kind of has its hands in the government. Um, and there's like a variety of like night guilds and stuff like that. So very high fantasy, obviously. And so the game starts off with the king, Heflo Dias the fifth, being straight up assassinated.
Was murked, gone.
Yeah. And then everybody's like, "Oh my god, what the happened? What the hell?" And then we cut to our protagonist, who is a blue-haired Elda, canonically named Will, but you can name him whatever you want. I didn't know his name was Will.
I did.
I didn't know that. Um, and so the Elda are discriminated against because they are tainted, because apparently they inherited some forbidden magic. Um, they're just pretty hated. And we see that pretty early on in the game, when Will arrives into the first city, called Grand
Yeah.
Trad, um, with his fairy companion Gallica. And she kind of she's your Morgana for the game, the one that's giving you tactical information and kind of the voice of the protagonist when he doesn't want to speak and all of that good stuff. So he is part of a resistance that is trying to help uh, basically fight
Trying
against these.
to,
Go ahead.
yeah, they're gonna say he goes there because when the king's assassinated, that they're told the kingdom doesn't believe that the king had a suitable heir because they used to have a son, but they were killed. So they assume that the prince is dead. So no one's there to uh, to take the king's position. So they had to choose a new one. But Will and his crew know that the prince is alive. They have the
Yeah,
body, and he's just being in a coma. But then a magical coma, so they have to figure out a way to awaken him from it.
yeah,
And they know who did it, but trying to prove how they did it is the hard part.
yes, yes. And that person that they think it is Luis,
Luis.
um, who is the guy that straight up murders the king. Straight up shows it in the first video. So there's like,
Yeah.
I kind of like how they did not bury the lead with who the villain is. They just let
No.
him be the villain, and you like uncover his motives behind his villainy as the story goes on.
And I also like how they don't really. I mean, it's kind of a thing for later, but they don't really redeem him. They don't try and make him like sees who he's he's misunderstood. All it's like, no, he's just an asshole.
Yeah,
You can some shit did happen to him, but it's also like, dude, that's like he took it from 0 to 100 like real fast. This isn't like a Magneto situation where like, okay, you kind of get where he's coming from. Like it is a, I think you're really overacting certain things, dog.
yeah, for sure, for sure. And I'll agree with that. I like how they don't redeem him. I feel like that's a trap that modern villainy has fallen into, where they try to be like, oh yeah, he murdered half of the planet, but like he starved as a kid, so like it makes sense. Like, no, he's just evil. He may have some good points, but he's still just evil. Um, and so yeah, Will and Galka have to find a Roag mercenary who's um, part of the resistance named Grius. And so in order to do that, he um, joins the like Royal Guard, Royal Army, whatever you want to call it. Um, probably not royal army, just army. And he comes across his first companion, Stroll, Leon Stroll de Halaeus, a former noble who has his own reasonings of joining up with the army. They find Grius, and are starting to make plans. Will takes a nap and travels to the mystical library called Academia and meets Moore, the enigmatic author of a novel that Will always carries with him, and it's a novel about a utopia. Um, and so like that's one of Will's driving forces is like making this world and this book a reality. And so he gets taken into academia where he can straight up talk to the author of this book. And this is basically the Velvet Room for the game.
He's definitely the Igor of this game.
Yes. And Moore is a pretty interesting character. He has relations to the world of Uchronia, and very much so like the protagonist, and even like Luis in some ways, wants the world to be a better place. That's why he wrote the book. The book seems to be like it's based on our reality, but
Utopia. I don't know what he was smoking.
yeah, uh, like it straight up shows like cars and buildings and modern cities and stuff in the book, and it's like you definitely didn't come here to visit, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's a about which we'll talk about more further into the spoiler talk because there is reveals in the plot, but that's later down the road.
Yeah. So yeah, so he wakes up from that. He wakes up from that little introduction to Moore. Um, and they basically get attacked by their first human. Looks like this like apple human creature with wings on its head and stuff like that. And you know, Stroll and Grius and Will all fight it, and they get beaten. And that's when Will awakens to the power of the archetypes, being blessed with the Seeker archetype. Thank God the first human's weak to wind.
Funny how that works.
Yeah, crazy, right? um, and so they're able to kill the human and escape because the human has killed like everybody. So they're gonna escape back to Grand Trad. Um, Grius was there that the night that the prince was attacked, and tells Stroll and Will that Luis is probably the one that cast the curse, and killing him will obviously break it. So when they return to Grand Trad, they plan to assassinate Luis at the king's funeral. During the event, Luis arrives and makes claim to the throne. However, the palace starts to levitate into the sky out of nowhere. And at the bottom of the rock that the castle is sitting on, the previous king's face appears, and basically announces that his successor will be voted on by the people. Um, which is a really cool moment, because I mean, it just echoes a lot of what we're going through here in the United States at the time, especially last year when the elections were going on.
The game has a lot. This game has a lot to say. I mean, it's the game's name metaphor, and it takes it very literally.
Yes.
It is a metaphor for a lot of things. Because essentially the function of the main game is this is the game's main plot is a fucking election.
Yep.
For a king of all things, it's a little strange to think about it that way, but whatever. But the game through our playing strategy is I remember. I think is a neat thing the game did. Every single party member in your game, including the protagonist, is a different species.
Yep.
Because racism and discrimination are very prevalent throughout this world.
Yep.
As you said, the protag is Will. He's an Elda, and is heavily discriminated. And the game starts it off fast.
Yeah.
People are sneering at you in the street and just like, damn, like you feel bad quickly.
Yeah.
Uh, and everyone you go along with is kind of down their luck or looked down on for some way or another. Even the ones who are like Stroll, he's part of the species who are not looked down upon, but he himself is looked down upon for other things that's happened. Uh, so throughout all these things, all these people come together to turn things around. But it also does a cool thing where our player is trying to do things the right way. The promises that the Luis makes, because I do also find it interesting, is Luis doesn't just kind of goes, okay, that's how we got to do it. That's how we got to do it, and changes his plan on this immediately. Like Millie doesn't, he doesn't try to usurp or gain power. He's like, I'll manipulate the system then to get where I want to go. Then whatever I have to do, because he's a dictator. That's what they'll play the game until they get their power. They're not just really going to charge in and break everything before they even get the power to do so. But what the game does with him is he speaks eloquently. To the point where you kind of understand, like I can understand why people would fall for his tricks. Because there's a lot of people like who actually just like super sold on him, and you're just like, dog, what? Why? But he talks slyly.
Yeah. And he promises things that are basic rights. He promises protection from the humans and all of these things. So yeah, no, it's very calculating, very cold, very ready to go. Um. So yes, so it's at this time that Grius enacts his plan to try to kill Luis, and it does not go well. Luis kills Grius. Well, sorry, Grius gets stopped by the royal magic, and so anybody that's in the contest cannot be killed while the magic is going on. And so Luis kills Grius right back, and sends one of his lackeys to go retrieve the royal scepter, which is the king's scepter. It's a super powerful artifact, basically. Um, and so Will and Stroll come across Iselin Hulkenberg, a former Kingsguard who served the presumed deceased prince, um, and they defeat the the lackey. His name's Zorba. He's kind of like a necromancer, um, and the royal scepter levitates into the palace away from everybody. Um, and that's at this point that Will and the gang decide to participate in the tournament for the throne, basically just to get close to Luis to kill him. Like they have no political aspirations at this time. They just want to get on Luis's good side in hopes to stab him in the back.
Is that the real goal is bring the prince back to life, and they believe that will be enough to convince people to vote for him.
Yes, yes. Um, and so and the competition is in the competition. There's major groups. You've got Luis and his gang. You've got Will and his gang, and you also have the church. And the church is trying to take complete control of the country, and they're the ones that are kind of putting on this whole thing. And it's very clearly that it's just like sort of kind of rigged. And unfortunately for them, the populace supports Luis, and so even though it's rigged, Luis is winning. So the first task is that they have to find the head of a monster. Like they have to bring it and show basically that they're just. I guess I don't know. They have to get the head of a monster.
Capable, I think it's what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Capable.
And so the party hears a rumor that there's a rogue knight who's kidnapping like children in the like a town over. So after getting some information, they confront the knight, who is a Ujif named Heisme Noctul. But they learn that he's not the one kidnapping kids. He tells them that he has a dead son of his own. He wouldn't even dare of doing this to somebody else. And they decide this. They just find out that a Sanctus priestess named Joanna after her own child died, was feeding the town's children to a human and framed Heisme for it, which leads you to basically defeat the human that she's feeding them to, which is grotesque. It's terrifying. It's like this head of a baby, and its mouth opens up like a fucking predator. It's terrifying. And so after you defeat it, Heisme, in a very heartfelt plea, convinces Joanna to confess her crimes, resulting in her execution. Basically, that's the head of the monster that they are bringing, and it's a very shocking thing to all of the people, especially to the church, who was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, because I mean, like everyone was reading these monsters, and then they come up like they're last to go, and like, "Where's your monster?" All of a sudden, the lady walks up and like, "Wait, what the fuck is it? We had a monster, not a person." Like, actually getting mad at them, and, like the lady's like, "No, wait, I need to confess something. Here's what happened. I'm the one at fault for it." And it's like, oh, they're actually looking for like not just literal monsters, but the metaphorical ones too.
There's that word again, metaphor.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they essentially like win or stay in the competition, basically. And Luis is impressed by this, allowing Will's gang to basically serve underneath Luis. So mission accomplished. We're close to Luis now. Um, and Luis invites Will and the gang to this like party he's having. And so the next leg of the game is planning out this heist to basically try to sneak into Luis's chambers and find the formula for the curse that was placed on the prince. Probably shouldn't write those down. And basically lift the curse that way. And they get some help from an unlikely ally, a Nydia performer and an undercover Resista agent, Juna. She is shown with Luis pretty early on, and she's a very striking design. So obviously she's got to be a main character at some point. Yeah, and it's revealed that she is actually a Resistance member as well, and was looking for the same thing. So they start to team up. Um, that rolls into the heist is basically successful, except for the fact that they don't really like nothing's gleaned from the formulas that they found. So now we've got on Luis's good side. Now we got to stay on Luis's good side. So the second task is to retrieve holy relics from the pagan lands. Um, this is also when we meet Luis's lieutenants. They're two Priapus brothers, Fidelio and Basilio. Um, Fidelio is like a shorter, kind of like smarter, more calculating person. Basilio, bigger, more caring person, but a tough guy. Is kind of their archetype. Um, so the party heads to the Virga Islands to retrieve this magical spear known as Dracidios. And this is when we get one of the first big twists of the game. So we're descending through the underground through an ancient temple to save the Mistari princess Yufa, because she's trying to sacrifice herself to a dragon. And the party's like, no, you don't. Seriously, you don't need to do that. But she's like, I have to for my people. And they're like, no, for real, you don't have to do that. um, so they're trying to save her, and while down there, they discover the ruins of modern day Shinjuku, said to be from the world before, predating Ukrainia's history. So, so yeah, uh, this is actually not a high fantasy game. It is a post-apocalyptic
Fantasy
game.
game. Like that was the wildest ass twist when I got to that point. As soon as
Yeah.
I saw like, as you're sitting down, I'm like, this looks really modern. And then you get to the part where you
Yes.
see all the buildings, like, oh, this is my, oh shit, what the fuck happened here?
Yes. Yes.
You,
And so I feel like the game really takes like a tonal shift from that point on. It's very much so like goes from a lot of this political drama to sins of our past, like what has led the world to be to this point and how do we fix it versus just like, oh, we need to fix it. It's like, oh shit, there's some baggage here. And
Well,
it was such a well orchestrated twist too, because I truly did not see this one coming.
oh no, I didn't either. I will say it does take a little bit of shift, but I think it also do that to make a point because it does go into like what destroyed the world before, and it's the same thing that's affecting the world now. So it's a we didn't learn the lesson the first time, and if humanity does not continue to learn these lessons, well, humanity's not really here in this world, but you know what I mean. It's gonna repeat itself, which is also a very me- decent metaphor for what's happening in real life. We don't learn our lessons.
Yes, yes. Yeah, so the world before was inhabited by humans. It was what we have today, and um, shit goes south, and life always finds a way. So, at the bottom of the temple, they find Dracudios, which is a spear that bypasses royal magic, and therefore can kill the royal candidates. Yufa joins the party as a summoner, and they travel to a place called Altaberry Heights, which is this like church town basically. It's got like a big cathedral and stuff like that. Um, where the party comes up with a plan of giving Luis a fake Dracudios because he's the one that told them to go find it, and then the party using Dracudios to kill Luis. And so the party enacts their plan, and it goes as they expected. They
What
they oh,
they fight Louise. Yeah, I was saying. What the cool thing I do also like about this kind of set the table for the characters is Yufa is very like, I don't want to kill people. Why do you guys want to, like, I understand Luis is a bad guy, but sure there's a better way than killing him. And then she finally meets him for the first time, and Luis just straight up says, like, wonder how she's still alive. And he goes, yeah, we just went in there and grabbed it. It was fine, We talked and he goes, oh, that's good. The guys that, you want to talk it out and do it the peaceful way, because I wouldn't have. I would just sort of burn your village to the ground. Just casually says it. And she just kind of like
yes,
shocked. And Luis, it meant nothing to him saying. He just walks away. The immediately she's like, "Oh no, he gotta go.
yeah,
He's too dangerous to live." Um,
yeah.
and
I
the
like
nurse is,
how all of the party members seem to have a little bit of reservation with going through with it. Like all of them have their stalwart wills and end up doing it, but like you could see the apprehension on all of their faces. You can feel it in their voices. Like they're like, okay, we're gonna do this thing, and it's not morally correct, and we're gonna have to live with it, but it is still the best thing to do.
yeah. But also, like, I think we touched on it earlier with Luis is and he's wasted our game. He's the villain through and through, and they don't really do anything to redeem him. He also stands 10 toes down on what he believes, though. There's a moment before this, when you find him, the attack with Dracodias, so you find him multiple times, uh, where he basically says, "Come at me!" Like, so when they fight him, he kind of it's just a challenge to them. Basically, says, uh, fight me on your own. Fight me with as a group. Bring as many as you want, because to him, power is everything. But he even acknowledges that collective power is its own form of power. He doesn't believe it's stronger than his, but he believes that if he were to lose to it, well, then it was his fault that he wasn't strong enough to actually beat it. So
Yeah,
it's like you gotta respect that he's standing intent on his business. He truly believes in himself,
yeah,
for better or for worse.
yeah. Yes. So yeah, so the party enacts their ruse, and you get this really cool scene of the spear being thrown super powered at Luis. It does do as intended. It breaks the magic, the royal magic, and seemingly kills him. But the um the party then realizes that it wasn't Luis that set the curse. It was the minister of the church, Forden. Um, Luis then reveals himself to be alive, having been healed by the necromancer Zorba. And Forden attacks Luis with Dracudios. However, the fake and real Dracudios had been switched again without Forden's knowledge, allowing Forden to kill, allowing Luis to kill Forden. Um, and then obviously with a clash like this, there's always collateral damage. Fidelio protects Basilio and some innocent Sanctus bystanders from Luis's attack, dying in the process. And Fidelio, tells Basilio to carry on, and that's when Basilio joins the ever growing party member as the last party member for the game, and he does so kind of reluctantly. Like he's been with Luis for a very long time, and only after the death of his brother Fidelio is he able to change a little bit of that viewpoint to join up with the party. And
Oh yeah.
this whole sequence was just, I mean, my eyes were glued to the screen. Like it's such a climactic like midpoint of the game.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's very sorry, I sneeze caught. I do also like how Basilio joins the party. He's also, let's say, we described him as, he's kind of the older, taller. He's kind of also the dumber one of the two brothers. So he, a lot of them were involved in this because of more political reasons, and Basilio is not really a person who thought about all these things, but he realizes that this stuff actually is affecting him, and it got his brother killed, and that's what makes him, finally join. And he's usually not the most like eloquent speaker on the politics of the whole group, but like he still has things to say, which are really cool.
Yeah, yeah, he's a really good character. And his glass is broken as shit.
Mm.
Um, so it's then revealed that Rella, Juno's adoptive sister and a high-ranking church member, is revealed to be the one that cursed the prince as a child under the coercion of Forden. She tests the party's strength, and by like summoning a dragon, and then fully admits that of her and the church's role in the attempted assassination of the prince. Um, she then kills herself to lift the curse on the prince. Um, uh, and I have mixed emotion about this one. Like I appreciate the self-sacrifice, but it's like also, you were blinded to the truth that was in front of you type thing. Um, it's very emotional. It's very grounded. Juna very much so appreciates and loves her sister, and so this was a very hard moment for her character as well. But uh, but yeah, curse is lifted. Um, Luis challenges Will to a duel in Grand Trad, and he accepts. However, during the duel, Luis uses some dark magic to turn Will into a human, causing some destruction, and the public kind of turns their backs on Will. Because at this point in the game, Will is the second place candidate for king, and basically loses all of that support after that happens. Will transforms back to normal, and the party is forced to flee to the Elda Sanctum, where the prince is hidden and where Will and Gallica came from the very beginning. Um, Only to discover that Zorba had already infiltrated the Elda Sanctum and found and killed the prince. The spirit of the prince's mother, who we haven't really heard much about up to this point, contacts Will, and revealing that Will is the embodiment of the prince's hopes and dreams of changing the world. So Will is the prince. He's like an astral projection of the prince. Um, and so Will merges with the prince's body, and is alive, curse broken, ready to go. After that happens, we get a lot of exposition about the world before. It was destroyed. It was destroyed after humanity discovered Magla, which is this force that supplies the magic, and they wielded it in wars against each other.
Of course,
Uh,
we did.
yep. Um, and so the magla hung in the atmosphere, kind of like nuclear winter, and those that were overexposed to all of that magla transformed into what the game calls humans, these grotesque creatures. And the survivors evolved into the tribes that we see in the game in Uchronia.
That's why
Um,
most that's why most of the species in this game look humanoid, except for the UG. Uh, but all else looks humanoid because the Magla in a sense kind of evolved them. The Elda though we're just dump, or in a sense the last remaining humans that
yeah,
they went underground and hid. They did not evolve to the Magla. So they are the humans that we are, not
yes,
the humans of this game.
yeah, they are direct descendants of humanity. Yeah. So back at Grand Trad, Luis ascends to the palace and claims the royal scepter, the source of the royal magic, which gains tremendous power by drawing in the anxieties of the masses in the form of Magla. So obviously the world's in flux. They are very anxious. Everybody's very anxious. That makes him more powerful. The party with the prince in tow enters the palace, slays Zorba, confronts Luis, who reveals that he also is an Elda who was traumatized after Forden and the church burned the Elda Sanctum down in an attempt to kill the prince. Before they actually were able to um, put him in his coma, before they tried once before, and uh, Luis was there and was very traumatized by the attack. Luis then reveals his plan. He's going to reverse the scepter's flow, overexposing the masses with Magla to transform them all into humans. And the reason being is he believes that it will remove prejudice from the world and that the strong will survive and will transform back from humans into their original forms, just like Will did. He then attempts to transform Will into a human again, but Will rips his heart out to stop the process and has another a fake death.
Yeah, this guy's died so many times.
I think this is an important part to talk about how the all of them awaken to their archetypes, because
In our head.
this is a Persona game, so there is awakening scenes. Thank God, because they're fucking awesome. Um, like the all of the awakenings in this game are top tier Persona awakenings. Like I can definitively say that. So what happens is they reach into their chests and rip out a heart, but it's not their heart. It's this metal heart that's a microphone, and so every one of them gets this badass speech of yelling into this microphone about their like ambitions and their goals. And then that's when they awaken to their archetype. I think it's such a dope ass formula. Like honestly, like I put them above some of the Persona 5 awakenings. Like especially Strolls. I think Strolls is the best because he has his foot up and is like shouting into the mic. It's great. All of them could be propaganda videos. I like
Oh
seriously.
god. Damn. Damn.
They could.
You're not wrong, but damn, like as well as I didn't think about that until you said it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't argue against that.
Yeah. So yeah, Will rips out his heart to stop the transformation and quote unquote seemingly dies. Moore brings Will to academia, claiming that Uchronia was a fantasy, while the utopia from his novel is reality. After briefly battling Will, Moore realizes that he is the younger version of the king, Hyphodeus, who, having lost hope after his wife was killed and the prince was cursed, created Moore to guide Will. Will awakens in Uchronia and reunites with his friends. Um, again, resulting in the fake death. This plot point, I feel like, is cool, but like, kind of also wasn't necessary.
A little corny.
Yeah, like if Moore was nobody, if Moore was just the author of the book, I don't feel like anything would have changed there.
Oh yeah, that's what you meant. I thought you meant him coming back to life.
Him
The
coming back to
more
life, yeah, it's
thing,
corny.
yeah, that's what you meant. The more thing, I thought it was okay because I think it was was the game's central thesis because yeah, he says that the utopia is reality, which yeah, to us, yes, the world of the book is a lot more similar to our reality than that. But the point being is he was still in the book. To them, the game never makes clear like because sometimes you think like is this story this game just a story like it's just a book? The game never states that.
Yeah,
Um, it's kind of hinted at, but you're not 100% sure. But I'm assume no. Uh, but you realize the thing he wants to live in a fantasy uh, where Will kind of goes, no, I want to make. There's no point in living in a fantasy when you can make fantasy reality.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
What I'm more so saying is like if they just kept Moore as the author of the book and he's guiding Will because they share the ideals of a perfect society, I feel like that's just as impactful as him being Will's dad, the spirit of Will's dad's hope and dreams. I feel like nothing is really lost in either one of those two because they're both conjoined on their ideals.
yeah.
Especially
Uh,
since especially since there wasn't really a redemption for Will's dad. Like yes, Moore is hit Will's dad's hopes and dreams, but the king's dead, so he never really gets to realize that he he never gets to realize that his hope never left him. He never gets to rediscover his hope. So the point it kind of feels a little empty.
I think the ultimate point is it's less about it's useful to show it to the more being Will's dad that ultimately because Moore was still trying to stay in the fake reality that ultimately this is Will's choice to do all this. This isn't
Yeah,
he's not doing this for anyone other but him.
that's true.
Uh, so I think it's better that way because it shows he's not just following in what he thought he was his dad's footsteps.
That's true. That's fair. That's fair. Um, but yeah. So Will wakes up, reunites with his friends. Luis transforms into a human. Um, but obviously the party destroys him and the royal scepter. The spirit of the king announces that Will is now the new king before departing to the afterlife. And then credits roll, and then we get a 1 year later kind of like epilogue, which is really really nice. After 1 year being king and being cooped up in his office, basically, him and the party reunite to go on another journey to address the kingdom's remaining problems. And I really like the epilogue because it's you're running around the town talking to people, and it's painting the picture through gameplay that he's a very good leader that still has a lot of growing to do, but ultimately wants to help people. Like he wants to be the one helping his people, not any other way.
Yeah. Yeah, and it also showed because like he's walking around. One of the other things is apparently people didn't recognize him. How do you not recognize him? He was wearing this before. He's
Yeah,
not wearing a disguise. He's like, oh, we don't know where the king went. Yes, you do. Uh, but I think it was going on showing. So there are as a when the game started, the Elder were discriminated against, and now Elder is the king. Uh, a lot of people in the kingdom have learned, discrimination is wrong, and we shouldn't discriminate people based on outward appearances and stuff like that. But there are still some who don't like this fact. Uh, so and while those are becoming smaller, they still exist. So I do like the game, the fact that it showed that just because he became king, that immediately did not fix all the problems. It still required work to do. It's a long work to fix the problems that face the kingdom. That there's no silver bullet to this.
yeah, for sure, for sure. And so yeah, that's the overview of the story. Very very good, very very politically charged, very very poignant, especially for last year when it came out. Heavy themes around discrimination, politics, the role of politicians in our lives, all of those kind of things. Um, it's yeah, it's I mean it's a very powerful story. I think That's one of the most striking differences between this game and Persona. As Persona tells a very story of like very good versus evil, like anti-establishment, kind of story. This one takes that to a whole nother level, and basically calling out the problems. Like these are the problems right here. List them out.
Yeah. There's a line in this game. I think. Let's see if I can remember find it because I know I took a screenshot of it. I took so many screenshots of lines from this game. They're just like, damn, they are going for the throat on this.
Yeah.
I know I have. No, I haven't. Let me see if I can pull them up real quick. I should have done this earlier before we started, but whatever.
Oh, you're good.
Um, but yeah, one to start is one from uh Brigitte. Where is it? I just saw it and I lost it. There it is. Um, she says, and I quote. That's the quote. She said in the game because she's talking to Will. I'll want her social links. Um, and she sees how the church manipulates people to frame them for wherever its own ends. And all she says, this world is a horrific place, defined by inequality and intolerance. The ones who shaped it are the wealthy few who sit atop it. In other words, the church.
Yep. Can't
That's
get
not
more.
accurate to real life.
Don't get no poignant than that. Let me tell you.
Or there's another line I think is pointed because when we do the second thing is the church is rigging the tournament basically to gain power. To this plot point, and we mentioned it earlier. The second part of the leg is again the spear of the Dionysus or something like that.
Uh,
Uh, the from Euphis people. Uh, and so Euphis people as a different religion, they've been kind of driven out by the Sanctus Church, and the competition is to find more relics and then give them to the church as proof of something. But before that happens, the church is having a meeting like, hey, this is what we're gonna do. And he explains why. The Forden, at the head of the church at the time, says, once I take the throne, I will reestablish these relics originally belonged to the Sanctus Church, and that they were ransacked from us in the course of history. So religion taking something that didn't belong to them, taking it from another religion, and then claiming it for themselves. Yeah. Do y'all see the metaphor here? What's going on?
yep. 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 Very, very poignant. Very, very, very poignant. I mean, there's like a dozen and a half scenes of like that. I mean, during Brigitte's emergent, during her storyline, you come across two kids whose parents were killed because of just basically because to test these magical devices called igniters on, and then those two kids attempt to come kill Brigitte because she's the one that manufactured them. Like, there's tons of storylines like that.
Oh
But the
yeah. So
world's
I mean,
not a good place.
there's just so many to count. So I don't want to spoil all of them. Obviously, we're still going to spoilers, but there's just so many in this game that are just like I had a screenshot like, damn, this game spin. They're not taking no prisoner on what they're trying to address here
No, no, at
because
all.
very much is a theme of like religion, and the state working hand in hand to try and get what they want.
Yep. Sounds familiar.
Mm-hmm. Like the game is called Metaphor for a reason.
Yes. And it's a heavy ass metaphor.
Yeah. Sometimes
um,
sometimes it gets as unsubtle as a brick.
yeah. Yeah. Um, I feel like it's pointed to go through the main cast and talk briefly about their storylines. So we'll go ahead and start off with Strawl since he's your first. So Strawl is a noble. He's the son of a noble from a town called Halia. And prior to the game's events, Halia was attacked by a human and basically wiped off the map. Strawl was one of the few survivors. Strawl finds out that Luis was the one that released the human to destroy Halia in the first place, thus giving him his motivation to stand against Luis. And throughout his story of like his social links, he steps up as a leader for the Hallian people, basically to work on reestablishing their kingdom, and really protects his people. Also, while just being a steadfast companion to Will. Like Stroll's a good dude.
Oh yeah,
uh,
I
so
definitely like to. Go ahead.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was going to move on to the
I
next one. So if you have something to say on Stroll, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm saying I did like his story how just he used to be a noble and his people lost that. He could have regained in his story is like he could have regained that power by taking the money for himself and things like this, but he decides to actually be a leader for his people and pay for their homes in the capital. So I won't give him his power back, but they'll keep his people safe.
Yep. Yep. And so that's his main motivation is just his people, and obviously helping Will. So very very good character. I think Stroll probably is my favorite like second in command character. Um, um, I think Junpei's great. I think Yosuke's great. I think Ryuji's great. But I like there was a palpable sense of like brotherhood um and care between Will and Stroll. Like Stroll is a great character. Moving on to Hulkenberg, the love of my life. I we stand Hulkenberg here. I fucking love Hulkenberg. She
She's great.
is so great.
I just say she's making you call her the love of your life. Like what the fuck?
She is so great. So great.
Very
Gina who?
very bad taste in food though.
Oh,
Very
she's
concerning
fine.
taste in food.
She's fine.
I don't think she's fine.
So Hulkenberg is a former knight, former Kingsguard of the royal family. She was actually tasked with protecting the prince, and failed when he got cursed. And she wears that regret on her sleeves. Like she at the very beginning of the game, she starts like as a like fallen knight. Like she thinks she's good for nothing. She all of these kind of things, and standing with Will, she learns to have a little bit of that composure back, and she is absolutely overjoyed when it's revealed that the prince is still alive. And very much so to her oath, doesn't let anything bad happen to him ever again. um, During her storyline, um, she encounters some other knights from her times with the Kingsguard, who are also struggling, and it kind of pulls her more so out of it to see them like that. One of her biggest personality quirks is she loves to eat, and she'll eat anything, leading to some of the funnier moments of the game. Hulkenberg arriving into a town and eating some weird shit. Um, Something I didn't know. She often used the word fie, and it's an archaic version of damn. So she's saying damn all the time.
That's great.
Yeah, yeah. She's a little bit more like stern and like monotone, which leads to a lot of the funny moments too, where like the party will be saying something and she'll have a response that's just like not on the same level. But she's the knight. She's the protector of the party, and she does that job well. She is extreme. She's an extremely fun character. Like I loved Hulkenberg every second of Hulkenberg. There's two people that never left the party. It was the prince and Hulkenberg.
I mean, the president count because you can't make him leave the
Yes,
party.
yes, but yeah, Hulkenberg never left the party. And I think it's also cool that her first scene happens before you even know who she is. On the very first scene of the game, basically, Will is on a transport to Grand Trad, and Hulkenberg is there too. The transport gets attacked, and Hulkenberg, in protection of everybody there, including the prince that she doesn't know is the prince, just gets up and slashes these two bandits, and just utterly destroys them. So I think it's very fitting that her first scene is one of protection for the prince, even though she didn't even know it was him.
Nope.
That's
No,
how
I
good
was
she
gonna
is
say
at her
like,
job.
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's
So moving on.
it's great. I love Hulkenberg. Next up is Heisme.
May one of the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If not honestly the best. Like we said, Heisme is from the Ujif tribe, so he is a like humanoid bat. And he's a little ninja. um, and he's awesome. He speaks like he's a samurai. Like very dutiful, very, you know,
He also speaks like he's older because one thing I
yeah,
do like about this game compared to the Persona ones is the game main cast playbook wise are all high schoolers. Uh, while most of our crew are young, I don't think they're high school. I think they're like young 20s. He's like very clearly like in his 40s.
yeah,
Has
he's
to
middle
be.
aged. Yeah, he's middle
Yeah.
aged.
So it's nice actually having like the older adult character like be in the group too.
Yeah,
So he's also sometimes the most like not I guess not hip, I guess you could say out of the group.
yeah,
But he has his own unique issues that someone who's middle aged would be facing.
yes,
But
yeah,
the game doesn't like make his problems lesser for that reason.
yes. And so his story, his son was killed, and um, he basically exiles himself, um, and that's why he kind of gets blamed for all of the things that Joanna was doing. Um, um, and so during his story, you're kind of helping him overcome his grief about his son and realize that there is more to life after that. Um, he, uh, learns a whole lot from reflecting on his past. He was very indecisive as a younger person, and so that leads him to be more decisive now. And so his son was influenced by his father's actions, and that ended up leading him to his death, and so that's why Heisman takes it so hard. But like I said, learns to overcome that grief, burying his son, and being there for the prince, as he uh, becomes the king. So uh, just great. Heisman's great.
Whereas
Uh, oh, go ahead.
no, I was thought you were gonna say something. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good. Anything on Heisman that I didn't mention or?
No, I mean you covered him. I'm kind of just what I liked about him the most too. So yeah, no, he's I said arguably the best party member. I'm not sure if I will say he's the best part because I really like Hulkenberg too, like Yufa. But highest mate is definitely like also in that conversation too.
Yeah, and I think this is also a good point to just like point out like everybody is going through something like very emotional, and so you get to see that side of them. And all those emotions are also still boiled into the central plots of the theme, which I think is important. Like everybody's going through something different, but it connects to this bigger thing, and that's what their motivation is. Next up is Juna, the bright-eyed Nydia. Um, she's really cool. She's kind of this like flirty, kind of like femme fatale, like kind of personality, but like in a very lighthearted way. Um, I really like her design. She reminds me a whole lot of like 70s like go-go dancers,
Yeah,
which is really
she
cool because
definitely
she's
had
like it.
she she
But
definitely had the most unique style of the group because everyone had more fantasy s like let's say battle clothing, and she's over here rocking like pop star music clothing. It's like not super pop star, but you know what I mean. Like it's very
yeah,
like distinct from everyone else.
yes. And so she's a singer. Um, and in a statement to her older sister, she said she's going to take to the stage or die trying. That's and like going so far to run away from her home as a child. Um, the Nydias have the stereotype of being liars, um, and so that's kind of like their like discrimination. And so Nydia can change their like forms, and so she's actually like this like really short like sprite like character, but like disguises herself as like closer to like a normal human, basically. Uh, as a child, she was enslaved, and she escaped her captors, and that's when she found Rella and was adopted by their family. Um, she does work for the church as kind of like a singer, I guess. But she also had like found herself with the resistance and worked to kill Luis before his rise to power. Um, and like I said, she's a very fun character. She's flirty. She's kind of got like femme fatale type thing going on. Um, and she's like definitely like a lighthearted spot in the crew for the prince.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I would say her probably her overarching social links are probably the weakest of the
Yeah,
of the of the party members, but it's by no means bad. It's just like we're everyone's so high, so someone has to be the shortest, the weakest link. So
yeah.
that's kind of where she falls, but
Still pretty good though.
no, it's
Next,
still really good.
yep. Next up is Yufa. So she's the Mistari. So she has a third eye. And she's a summoner. So yeah, like I said during the synopsis, you save her from a dragon, and that's when she joins up with you guys. Um, and so she is younger. She's the same age as the prince. So they're both like in their late teens, while everybody else is in their 20s and beyond. Um, so she's sheltered because she's from the Mistari tribe. She doesn't have a whole lot of self confidence. She's a little self spoken, but she's super compassionate. Like I said, sacrificing herself to the dragon to save her tribe. Um, she she's kind of the fish out of water character when you take her back with you. Like she's never been to this big city, she's never eaten these kinds of food, those kind of things, and it leads to some funny the funny moments. Juna takes kind of like an older sister role to Yufa, trying to build up her confidence, which I think is nice. Um, and
I
in
did.
terms, oh, go ahead.
I would say we'll go. We were about to say. I may have been the same thing about you were going to say. So we'll go ahead.
I was gonna move on to her like overarching like social link plot.
Yeah, go ahead. Now I was going to talk about that.
Yeah, so and her plot is um understanding other cultures and other religions. And so you get a lot of her interactions with the Sanctus Church, and kind of like her discovering that they're not all bad. They have their ways of doing things as well. But it also kind of you know affirms her um her beliefs and what she believes, and understanding that there's evil everywhere, and she tries to just be the best person she can and fight good on all fronts, fight for good on
Yeah,
all fronts.
I like hers a lot. I because hers also really covers like she's in the church, and there's George runs basically a priest in the church who is kind of doing stickles like, oh, you don't need to like worry about getting messy for them because there's a kid with a sick mom, and he's like, oh, prayer is going to fix all that, and doesn't, and the mom keeps getting sicker, like. So she kind of learns like I don't have any issues with people praying. I'm not personally religious, um, but like if she wants to pray, that's fine. But prayer is not a substitute for actually getting the help you need.
Yeah,
Uh, and so she learns that it's not one or the other; it's both. She used to be that type of person where just if I just pray, all things will fix. And it's like, no, you also need to take some action.
yep,
So I do like that. Also, she's also the part that very clearly has a crush on the protagonist.
yes, yes. At the final scene, she mentions a custom of I think it's a hug.
I
and
don't know, handshake. It was a handshake.
oh, it's a handshake. That's
That's
right.
all. Yeah.
Yeah, handshake, and it basically means that they're like patrols, basically. Basically, um, which it was very cute. Yeah, she definitely has a crush on the prince. Very very cute, very very funny. She's a good character. She's a good character. I didn't like her class very much. She's a summoner.
Her,
What?
I loved her class. As
Oh,
soon as she got in the game, like you're not leaving the party. You're just nuking
no,
everything.
she never did enough damage, and she never had access to stuff that I needed.
That's so strange to me because like she had everything I needed and just kept beating the shit out of everything.
No, no, no,
I
no, no.
I Here's the thing is we're getting about to talk about is Basilio, and you were talking how broken he is. Yeah, he's tough. I kept him on the bench for the most part and kept Yufa in the party.
Fucking crazy. Fucking crazy. Basilio hits like a goddamn bullet train. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I will say, talking about her as a summoner. So, in Final Fantasy, you summon these like gigantic eidolons or summons or whatever you want to call them. They're like larger than life creatures, or in this game, you summon personas and demons.
That's also my
uh,
character because it was just funny that how summoning those creatures. I mean, what abilities you can summon Jack Frost? I'm like, he found his way in this game.
he always did. He always was going to. Niho, man, Niho. So yeah, that leaves Basilio. And we talked briefly about kind of his motivations and stuff like that. But he is a very very cool character. Um, Wants to be a chef, which is awesome. Like he's a good ass cook. And so joining up with the party after Fidelio's death, um, he kind of latches onto their cause, but then kind of finds his own dreams, which is something that was new for him because he just kind of followed Fidelio around and then followed the prince around, and so he had to be kind of like his own man. And he's kind of the tough guy with a heart of gold. Um, and I really like his story of just being able to find himself and his independence. So
Oh yeah, no, definitely great. Uh, I said he is also one of the stronger ones too. There really isn't. There isn't a bad like social link. Well, for the party members wise, there's probably for the other social links. I mean, probably. Well, honestly, I wasn't a big fan of the Barden's social link.
yeah,
Uh, but I mean, we're not going to go into all of the non-party member social links. We're just focusing on the party members. But for party member wise, there's not really a bad one.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, I would be remiss if we didn't talk about Katharina at least, because she's basically like a ninth party member.
She's
Uh,
she almost like she was gonna be a party member. I'm
I
shocked she
I
never was.
straight up thought she was until she wasn't.
Yeah.
Like until I got Basilio and then looked at the pause screen and realized that all the blanks were filled in. I was like, oh, Katharina's not one. Because she's the monk. She is a monk. That's how you get the monk archetype. Is through encountering with her.
She
Uh,
shows up all the fucking time.
yes,
So it's like
yes.
the game was built like, oh, she's gonna join at some point. And like, no,
Nope.
like,
Fucking
okay.
didn't. She is basically a bounty hunter that is entering the royal tournament. She wants to win so that she can basically end corruption of all of the rich people. Basically,
You know what? She was probably one of my favorite characters. She's like, you know, we're gonna eat the rich. You're like, you know what, girl? I'm on your side. I'm voting for you.
yes. Um, and so yeah, so like I said, she like we both were saying, she pops up all the time, not as an adversary, kind of like as a rival in this world tournament. You do fight her a couple times, but it's more so for like, let's see how strong you are versus I'm gonna kill you type things. Um, and I honestly I think she's the most important social link for gameplay wise, because once you've maxed her out, she sometimes jumps in and attacks bosses for you.
Part of the party somehow.
Yeah,
Like that was the weirdest thing. Is just that the party never came for her. And it's like, okay, when we do metaphor ReFantazio, Royale or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
the fighting game.
Yeah. But I didn't find a game, but I mean, like, the ultimate edition of this game, the golden, the royal, whatever, you know what I mean. Where our new party member will be her.
Yeah, I mean I hope so because like they set it up the whole game and then just never happens.
Nope.
So yeah, no, she was honorary party member. She's very very cool. Very very brash, very very just like in your face. I think she would have been a good fit for the party as a whole. Uh but
They needed the guillotine water in the party, and she wanted them guillotines.
yes, yes. Yes, she did. Uh but yeah, so I think that's a good breakdown. There's obviously some more social links in here that were all pretty good. Some better than others. The parties, obviously, the best ones. And Katharina, I think, would be in that same category as well. Um, but yeah, I mean, characters in this game and the story of this game make it like truly special. And then you have the great gameplay on top of that, just leads it to be just an amazing experience. Um, I mean, very similar to Claire Obscure, that I hope Metaphor is the franchise name and we get some more weird locales and stuff like that. Atlas has done science fiction before with some of the Shin Megami Tensei games, so they definitely could be doing that.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm curious to see where this franchise goes. Because obviously, it was how successful this game was. It will be the third pillar for Atlas. Uh, but also, I mean, like they're also working on Persona 6. I think they should be.
Who the fuck
Sure.
knows, man?
I swear to God, they should be working on Persona 6.
Unless Team
Sure.
Zero is working on the Persona 4 remake.
I doubt the Team Zero is working on a remake. I think they're not going to do that. I think it's their team. Uh, But Shin Megami Tensei 6 is, will happen eventually. Persona 6 will happen eventually, and then
Yep.
Metaphor 2, whatever that is, whatever that looks like, will happen. So, uh, I would say whenever Alice puts out a game, we'll be there.
Yep.
Except for Shin Megami Tensei, yeah, we're not really super into Shin Megami Tensei, but this in Persona, they just have to say the logo. We're like, okay, here's money, give me.
Give me. So yeah, as a reminder, we gave Metaphor 9.25 out of 10. Fantastic game. Go pick it up on whatever system you have. Unless you have Switch 2, then you probably have to wait because it's definitely going to come there eventually. But any final thoughts on Metaphor before we lock this one up?
No, I just noticed a crown jewel in Atlas's empire. So I gave it game of the year last year. You gave it runner up. So I we've glazed this game so many times. We kept saying this review was going to happen. We just never got around to it for our schedules.
Yep.
We're finally doing it, and I'm assuming this review this is like almost close to 2 hours. So
Yeah,
we
we are
told you
at
it was
the
going to be a
2 hour
long.
mark. Yeah, we were at the 2 hour
Yeah.
mark.
So we told y'all. So if a 2 hour review for a game that was I give the year run up for you doesn't tell you this game is fantastic, you should buy and play it. I don't know what else we need to do to convince you to buy and play it.
It's true. So go buy and play it right now. Do it. It's great. But before you go do that, if you could do us a favor, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, so that you keep informed when all of our new stuff comes out. We still have the Expedition 33 review and our podcast all on the way to you all the time. So, plus some other games coming out in this very busy season that we're probably going to review. I think both of us are playing Outer Worlds. I'm playing Pokemon right now. Might do a review for it. So,
Hades
um,
2, whenever you finish Hades
yep,
2.
Hades 2. So lots of stuff on the docket right now. Um, so definitely subscribe, like the video, check out some of our other videos, and we hope to see you in the next one.
Adios.